All right, once you've got this in here, you're going to push it in as far as you can get it. You actually want it to slide out the other side. Ooh. Come on, you little guy. You don't want it to come out all the way. There we go. There's a little tiny hole that it has to slide through. Once it comes through, you can actually put this pin back in there. And like I said, make sure so it only sticks out a 1/4 inch. Now at this point, we take the supplied C-clip that they give you. And this is the pain in the butt right here, is getting it over this. If you got any way to kind of spread it a little bit to get it to go over, you're gold. If not, you fight with it for 20 minutes. It's kind of a pain in the butt, it really is. Bear with me here. And again, like I said, I don't use gloves, so this gets kind of slippery, so it's taking a little bit longer than it should. Once you get that edge down, you can hold it there and work your way around. Makes it a lot easier. I know there's probably somebody out there that's got a better method to this. I'm old school, kind of hard-headed. So once you get that down, you slide that down to that little channel there, and it locks into place for you, so that way it doesn't allow the rod to slide back through. Okay. With that being done, it stops the internal from coming all the way through. This little rod you can leave out for right now if you want. Slide your spring in. And now we go back to square one, where this little guy gets the washer, flat side against the spring. Be careful not to cross thread this. And make sure that you don't pinch the O-ring when you go to tighten this down. Make sure it's all nice and even. At this point, we go back to our tool that Racetech sells, that we actually also sell. If you need one, hit us up. I think we even have them carry this on the shelf because we have so many people that do this, because we help support the South Florida Mini GP racing series. And without the little guys racing, you don't become a big guy to race. So I keep the sport alive. At this point, we go back to the vise. Not the best vise we have, but it'll work for now. So we get this guy back in here. Again. This is where the two people come in handy sometimes. And there's torque specs on this. Your Honda Grom manual will actually give all those to you without me having to look them up for each and every bike. Usually I want to say it's probably 20 pounds, 22 pounds or something like that. Okay. At this point, we go back to these holes are, when I say using this tool is extremely beneficial on your part, and I think this part is only like 40 bucks if I had to guess, without running in there. They're looking on the shop wall. At this point, what I'm going to do is we're going to put a little thin layer of red thread lock on here, real thin layer, on the threads here, and then we're going to put the foot back on. But please don't forget this little O-ring that goes in the very top of this right here when you go to put the foot back on. You never want to be left over with extra parts unless the parts are being replaced. Okay? For this. There's still a lot of thread lock inside of the fork boot, so we put a little bit on there to help it, just in case. I like to wipe everything out, make sure everything's good and clean.
And look, it's cooled down.
You can touch it.
O-ring in there?
Yeah, O-ring's in there. And remember, this is a reverse thread. So you go that way, you're not gonna do nothing. You have to go the opposite direction to tighten it down. Okay, now there's a point, hand tight. We've been doing this for a while, so we can use a torque wrench on a lot of this. I will with the camera off, but just so you know that there is a way to tighten this down with spec. I believe it's 50 pounds for this, but inside this bottom of this, there's a little tiny Allen key. It's a 14 millimeter, I believe. And if you do this counterclockwise, what allows you to do is tighten the fork leg to the actual foot if you're unsure about how tight you've got this here. If you don't have a torque wrench, put a little hiatus on it. Honestly, for this to come off of here, you're gonna have to unthread it as much as you saw me unthread it. The axle has to come out, your front wheel has to come off, and if you're at that point in a race, odds are if your front wheel's off in a race, you're not looking good. So, sorry, Scotty. All right. Now we get back to this point again. All right. Here, we're going to take this. Slide it in there. And again, you want to find that little cubby spot that's in there, and what it'll do is it'll drop down into place. At that point, we got the clip on there, got the O-ring in the foot. Spin this little guy on here. And it'll want to turn on you. And what it's doing is it's hitting the adjuster inside. And then it'll lock and stop.
Okay, pressure.
Hang on a second, Scott. Now at this point, we're using 7 weight AMSOIL. We're running 250, it's 250 milliliters of port fluid in each leg. So they say give or take, it's like 230 to 250, and I believe 10% is the give. We're gonna go ahead and pour this fluid in here real quick, and then we're gonna button this all up, and basically, in a nutshell, just playing with your suspension, set it halfway on both sides, and go from there. And I hope this video helps a lot of guys out, because honestly, we have had a couple of these kits brought to us, and people are like just flabbergasted, because this is your directions to install this, and for a consumer, that's crazy. Any questions or anything, comments or anything, just go ahead and hit us up. You can either call us at 407-203-5400 or at oh, you want here. We're gonna go ahead and get something, put it on the road. We're gonna go ahead and fill it up till you can see it come up to the top of the inner tube, and then you want to kind of like, yeah, make that kind of motion. It's not probably the best motion in the world to be videoing. But what you want to do is you want to hear all the gurgling come out of it, so you slowly keep filling it back up. I like to put the ratio right up against the tube, so that way it just rides down the tube until you can see down inside. So you fill it all the way back up, and then just to the top of the inner leg. And again, like I said, you can hit us up at sprocketspeedshop@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on the telephone, or on Facebook, Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere. Or even at racetracks sometimes if you catch us.
If you can catch us.
Good.
This is a slow, tedious process. I wasn't going to put you guys through it, but you're here, so. Like I said, the fit and finish on this stuff is actually not really bad. It's pretty decent stuff. I just, like I said, I try to keep everything here in-house if possible. I'm not saying it's a bad setup. I just prefer Öhlins myself. K-Tex doesn't make too bad of stuff either, except for you gotta buy a whole set of extra tools to work on K-Tex stuff. Customer brought this to us at about 1 o'clock this afternoon.
We decided to go to lunch, came back. Same day turnaround for him on this fork service. And again, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and finish this up, cut this video a little bit short, and we got a little bit more fluid to do here. But go ahead and lock this down. The only thing that I suggest is once you've got your tubes back on the bike itself, go ahead and try to tighten these caps down a little bit more. Don't overkill them because they are only aluminum. Otherwise you end up stripping them out. There's a little trick to doing fork caps also. If you stick a plastic bag over top of this and then tighten it down, it'll keep from any marring that'll happen to the top of the tubes. For example, this one right here, we put a plastic bag over top of, and as you can see, there's no marring whatsoever from the wrenches.
Put the rest of that in there.
Yes, sir.